Just because you're bald doesn't make you Agent 47, Choo Choo.
Yeah, it does. Don't shout my dreams, Brack. Welcome down to the abyssal lair of the radiophonic sea creatures. Garrot your nutsack with the length of barbed wire, because I, Tokyo Choo Choo, am going to be your host today. And with me, as always, the two men who like to garrot each other's penises with their hands. It's Human Metal and Brack. How are you today, Human Metal?
I'm not going to do neither, just for the record. Just,
garrot your nutsack,
to make
garrot Brack penis.
And the barbed wire thing, it sounds painful, not like a good time. I'm all for the good times, so fuck that noise.
Don't fuck that noise.
Well,
the noise would be Brack farting.
All right, okay. Anyway, I'm fine, and we haven't done a show in a while, so
yeah,
I guess there's lots to talk about. But, we have this new rule where we only pick one shallow thing. So let's get to that, I would say.
Well, hang on a second. While you're on that note, good segue there, Human Metal, even though it wasn't the segue. But I would like to apologize and say, sorry, we haven't been around for a while since our last episode. But hey, shit happens, life goes on. And unfortunately, we tried to get together to record a show several times, but unfortunately, we just weren't able to. So hopefully we'll be able to rectify that in the future. Probably not, but we'll try. Anyway, Human Metal.
This has always been this nice slapdash thing that is very fun and improvised, so why change it?
Hey, talk about your mother's cunny on your own time, man. Get to it.
I'd rather not. Anyway, so I went to the movie theater and watched a little movie called Alita, Battle Angel, which is based on a manga and an OVA from the 90s. Shit, I didn't look it up, but I think it's the early 90s or late 80s. And that movie was in the making for however long. I don't know. James Cameron sometimes acquired the right and then tried to make it, and it just didn't happen. And then at some time, Robert Rodriguez took over as director. And the movie got pushed, back and back and back.
That's never a good sign, by the way, if Robert Rodriguez takes over.
Hey, he's made some fun movies. Come on. Give the man, a bit of benefit of the doubt here. Not high-profile, high-quality cinema, but yes.
Mild benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
For Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, sure, but still, benefit. Anyway, so, now he made that movie. That movie just came out, and it's not really a Robert Rodriguez movie, I gotta say. It just, budget-wise and, some of the things that are in there, it feels really more like a James Cameron movie. And he wrote
I don't know. I've seen it as well, by the way.
Yeah.
And there are definitely some stuff in there that's like, oh yeah, this is like Machete.
Sure.
It's very insane at some parts.
Yes, but, the insane part is also, or the feeling that you get that's very insane is also because they surprisingly stayed very close to the source material. It's been a while since I've read the manga, but I picked it up again and checked out some key scenes and was like, oh, wait, yeah, this is... I mean, they changed some names around and, some other stuff here and there, sometimes to the benefit of the material, I gotta say, to make it more cohesive and everything. But most of the crazy stuff is lifted directly from the source. So Rodriguez, aside of putting it into motion and everything, didn't really add anything to that. That was as crazy as it was, in the manga as well. So I'm glad they just kept it in, all the nutty stuff. If you like the source material, if you've read the manga, you will probably like this movie a lot because, like I said, it's very close. If you have not read it, I don't know if this movie is necessarily for you. It looks amazing. First of all, it's a fantastic looking movie, and it's well worth seeing it in 3D, in my opinion, for one's fight scene alone. But also just the scale of certain scenes come across very well with the edit depth from 3D stuff. But, it's a very good-looking movie. The stuff everyone complained about when they saw the first trailer, Alita having these weird, big CG eyes and everything. And I mean, she's completely CG anyway. You forget about that, like, after 10 minutes you watch the movie. For me, I don't know how you felt about it, Bragg, but for me, she never felt like this weird, non-fitting entity that was in the scenes. I thought
She didn't. Like, no, there are some flashbacks, right? Yeah. With some other characters in there, and they feel very like Uncanny Valley because those are actors you recognize as well. Yeah. So it's like, oh, this is Michelle Rodriguez, and like I see Michelle Rodriguez's face, only she has like this big ass bug eyes. It's like, oh yeah, this isn't working. But her on her own, that was working really well.
Yeah, and she always comes across as a bit too intense, maybe. But then you're like, yeah, well, she's a killer fighting cyborg, so that's fine. And she's also, got the mind of a teenager, kinda. So that's also already intense by itself. But multiply that with killer robot, and
she's
what
you're getting. She's not even as intense as Mahershala Ali in this movie is.
Yeah, he was half intense, half. What am I doing here?
Oh no, just half like buying new sunglasses. I think he took this movie just so he could keep the sunglasses, like after filming.
And also Jennifer Connelly, very intense in certain scenes, sometimes without actually having a face. But yeah, fucking. Great cast, as you know. Christoph Waltz is in there as well as Dr. or Professor Ito, who's like kind of this father figure to Alita, and he finds her body, which has been cast out from the Sky City and everything, and then builds a new body and everything. And the story follows from there on and follows her way to finding herself and making friends and everything. And it's a fun movie. It was never boring to me. It's kind of a slow start where they like kind of create the world and everything, or show you around it and set up certain things. But I was never bored. I was always intrigued seeing this world come together and the characters interact and everything. So it's a very entertaining movie, in my opinion. It's just anime as fuck. If you got a problem with that, maybe you have a problem with this movie. But I still think you should give it a chance because, like I said, it's immensely entertaining. Some of the action scenes are fucking stellar. Look, just filmed great, fantastic CG, great sound, everything that you would expect from a great-looking science fiction movie. This was a very expensive movie, like $200 million or something, for a fucking anime adaptation. That's ridiculous, and you see it in every frame. So, yeah, I think it's worth your time. I think it's worth your money. You should definitely check it out, even if you're like, from the trailer, what is this? But I think it was worth my time. Enjoyed it. I will probably see it again. I don't know. What was your final consensus on the movie, Bragg?
I thought the romance was really bad and very meaningless.
Yeah, teenager romance. Yeah,
and I wish they just either actually spent more time on it to develop it, or like spent even less time on it because it's like so useless.
That's probably the Cameron influence or the Hollywood influence. In the manga, it was a bit more underplayed because Alita is pining for Hugo, her romantic interest, but he's kind of shrug about it. And in this is much more mutual, and there's actual development there, which wasn't really in the manga that much. Maybe to its detriment, I guess, at least in our case, because we don't like cheesy romance. But maybe some kids will like that. I don't know, or some kids who are in that age.
Like, this is a movie where it's like, who is this movie for? Like, I'm glad I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. But like, is there other people like watching this for a reason? Like, is this for kids? No, this is definitely for kids because this movie is violent as fuck.
Yeah, right? It's PG-13 though, right?
I know.
It's not R-rated.
They're playing by Samurai Jack rules, whereby it's super violent, but they're cyborgs, so it's okay.
It's fine if they get dismembered.
Yeah.
Completely.
Like, some of them die, but you're not even sure if they're actually dead, because sometimes somebody gets killed, but their head, like they have like a last shot of the head just like looking angrily at the camera like for a split second, or let to show that those people are really not really dead. And I'm actually glad that they stayed so true to the manga, which I haven't read, because there's definitely stuff in there which like I'd see it working in like a manga, like it makes sense in a manga, but if you translate it to real life, it just becomes like very like silly and hilarious.
Yeah,
and I enjoyed that. Like
me too.
For example, like Christoph Waltz, right? He's like the bad guy Robin. He's also like a hunter killer or some shit
Hunter
like
warrior.
that. Hunter warrior, okay.
Yes, a bounty
there's,
hunter,
like,
basically.
Where Christoph Waltz is running around with like a giant like scythe. Like
No. It's a rocket-propelled hammer.
Oh, it's a rocket-propelled hammer, but then, like
Yes.
that hammer is like way larger than him. Like
Yes,
it's super
it's amazing.
giant. So I think this works like in like in an anime or like in a video game, right? It's like bigger than like Cloud's sword in like Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Right? It's huge. But when you see like an old Christoph Waltz rocking around with it, it just looks very funny. Like it just I can't help laughing.
But it doesn't look, in my opinion, it never looked like, a prop. It looked like there was some weight behind it. It's
it never looked like
just
some
like
weight
super
behind it.
clunky, that's all.
It just looks like, oh, this doesn't fit with this
Yeah.
character. It doesn't fit in like a real human world.
Yeah.
But overall, like the action itself is just like insanely enjoyable. Like you're just sitting there enjoying every second of it when there's like fighting going on, and there's a lot of fighting going on. Like at least like half hour of this movie is like just full on action.
Yeah.
If
And
not
then it
more,
got
maybe
this
like an hour of it.
neat thing, this rollerball thing, which is called motorball, I think. in this-
Motorball or whatever it's called. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's
Where
the-
they fight on this racetrack for a ball, for a ball, and then beat each other up at the same time. It's all looks very cool. It's very entertaining. There's so much. There's a lot of creativity put into the action scenes.
Oh yeah, there's one action moment which I'm not gonna spoil, but there's a moment where she just gets somebody's eye out of the face, right? She just rips his eye off, and I'm just like laughing like hysterically because it was just like such an insane moment that doesn't like you've never seen any other type of movie, and if you've seen it, you will probably know what I'm talking about. But like it's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just enjoyed every second of it. I want to see more of it. Like that's funny enough. I was expecting to dislike it.
Me
it's
too.
like, okay, I had some good moments, but I'm never gonna see it again or whatever. But I think I'm actually might see this again at some point. Like that's how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's the
And
general.
really-
Sorry.
And I really want them to make a sequel that goes even more insane.
Yeah, well, they, and especially since they set up a sequel so heavily, and I mean, the material is not finished. Like, there's a lot more source material to draw from. So yeah, they should do it.
There's like a cameo in this that I could talk about for like an hour. Like the last reveal of who a character is.
Yeah.
What's going on? I was like not expecting that cameo at all.
Me neither. I didn't even recognize him.
Like, is that him?
Yeah.
That guy? Like really?
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah, amazingly fun movie. It's like a very expensive, very good-looking B movie, and good stuff. Check it out. I'd say you probably won't regret it. The general consensus of the audience, not of the critics, but of the audience, is like, wow, I expected to be shit, and I loved every second of it. So, go. I don't know.
It actually does feel like Robert Rodriguez. It kind of fits because it does feel like a $200 million grindhouse movie in a way.
Kind of. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, make of that what you will. But I would say give it a chance. It's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Like you guys, maybe I saw the critical reception of it and was just like, I can give that a pass. But having seen, however, when I saw the trailers for it, I actually thought, oh wow, that looks kind of interesting, But then the reviews came out, and I was like, I could probably give that a pass. But however, having heard your guys' reactions to it, I'll definitely get around to seeing that at some point. Maybe not at the cinema. I will probably catch it on DVD. But yeah,
I would
I'm
recommend you seeing it in the cinema though, because this is definitely a big screen movie that benefits from a big screen.
Yeah, you don't know how much the cinema costs out here, Human Metal.
Well, I'm just telling you, if there's a choice, if you got some extra budget or something, consider this, because this is definitely one of those movies where it's like, okay, benefits from the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah, fuck it, why not? If I can find the right schedule, I take my oldest daughter to see it. Why not? I got nothing to do recently. Jesus Christ! Don't get me into my my personal stories. Anyway, Brack, what's on your list?
On my list is a game that came out like 2 weeks ago, maybe even less than 2 weeks ago. Apex Legends, which is a very generic name in my opinion, but it's a really fun as fuck game. It's the first battle royale game that I really got into. Like I've tried some of the others, and it just did never really clicked. But this one finally clicked because it actually plays really well. It plays like a triple A, high budget first person shooter. Only it's free to play and it's super polished, and it's just a blast to play. And I've been playing it a lot with Chuchu actually, and we're not doing well. Like we just like in general, sometimes we like reach the last 5 or the last 3, and France about like second place or whatever. But mostly that's by hiding and not avoiding enemy contact. But it's also one of the only times in these type of games where I actually like feel like I can hold my own when I get into like a combat situation where you get like mid game, you actually have some cool battles that you survive, and like, oh my god, I can't believe we just got through that, and it's just like such a blast.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Black. So I will preface this by saying that whole type of multiplayer online shooter, that's just not my thing. That's just not my bag. I fall in with Human Metal on the old single player for the win type of gameplay experience. But you know, sometimes I very occasionally get into them. But the battle royale genre for me has been a very mixed bag. Like I feel the idea is great, you know, with the circle, the map or whatever, and then the circles, you know, that decrease in size and stuff and push you into a hot zone. Fuck, you know how battle royals work anyway. That concept like is a really good concept, but like the games that I've played, like PUBG, I don't know, I didn't get into that at all. And then Fortnite, I actually really did not like at all. Not even like, that really frustrated me because of the whole building mechanic and stuff. But however, Apex Legends, on the other hand, is actually really great. Like you say, it's really fun to play, and it's really it feels like a very well designed, big budget game. You know what I mean? Like Fortnite was well designed, but there's a kind of like element of like lower budget kind of feeling to it. You know what I mean? Like you're playing a second tier game, but with this game, you feel like you're playing a triple A huge budget first person shooters. You know what I mean? Like top of the range type of job. So I really appreciate that about the game. Like it's like the level of like spit and polish that it has, plus it just plays brilliantly. It's obviously from a team that all knows first person shooters very well, and I gather the Titanfall games are very fun to play. I've not played them personally, but I gather that they are.
Titanfall 2 is a blast. Like it has an amazing like fun single player, and the multiplayer is a lot more like Call of Duty. It's not like but around pretty smaller maps and everything, but it really is a blast.
Yeah. And so is Apex Legends. It's really, really fun. And I think the best thing I can say about Apex Legends is the fact that I'm not very good at Apex Legends. I pretty much suck at it, but I want to be better at it. Like it's a game that I'm willing to practice and get better at because I want to be good at that game. I want to actually win around in that game. I want to do better than our second place, Bragg. And for that, I feel like it's going to take a little bit of dedication and a little bit of like proper practice to like, you know, get my aim right and my tactics right and stuff. So at the moment, I'm going through this process of going through the options and trying to find which control style benefits me. So I'm playing about with the options of, you know, how the sensitivity for aiming and stuff and the general sort of control method. And I want to find something that is more comfortable for me, and I feel like I can feel more confident in. And I think for me to put that much effort into a multiplayer first-person shooter goes to show you like just how good that multiplayer first-person shooter is. I would say it's easily the best online multiplayer game I've played since Overwatch. which was a fucking revelation when I played it. That game was fucking brilliant. I don't know if it's as good as Overwatch. I might not go quite that far, but it's certainly the second best multiplayer game to Overwatch that I've played, certainly in the last few years at the very least. So yeah, well recommended, and I'm looking forward to getting more sessions in with you, Brack.
Yeah, and there's those intense situations where you know there's like enemies nearby, but you don't know exactly where they are, so you just scramble to get good positions, and you have like insane firefights where you're like on the top of like there's like small cities, and you're like on top of the buildings, and everybody else is like on the floor, and you try to get rid of them before they get into the building to sneak up on you, and it's just such a blast. Or you have like shootouts in the middle of the desert that you scramble through, and then you barely survive, and it's just so much fun.
Oh, I will say something. The most interesting thing I think about the game for me personally is completely deviating away from the gameplay aspects, which are perfectly solid. And like you, Brack, I really enjoyed several firefights, especially the firefights. You know, when you're in an intense like 3-on-3 type situation and you come out the victor. I mean, that's a pretty big rush of adrenaline right there. And you're just like, yeah, fuck you, yeah, and then inevitably you get killed by the next squad that just rolls up on you out of nowhere. But I will like give a shout out to the weird business model that the game has. You know, it's free to play, but like most free to play games, like I say, are like second tier in quality, but this one is top tier in quality. This is a real AAA game, but they don't ask you to buy anything. I mean, sure, you can buy loot boxes and stuff, and you can like pump real money into unlocking the extra characters or whatever. And usually like free to play games are like properly in your face with asking you to like buy loot boxes or, you know, buy this, that, the other or whatever. This one really doesn't. I mean, you have to go out your fucking way to get those options in the menus or whatever, which is awesome. So it never feels like you have to buy anything. And I really like that aspect of it. Also, what you can buy is just cosmetic. So it doesn't have any bearing. It's not like pay to win at all. You can't buy, you know, more powerful weapons or anything. I find that aspect of it, you know, really awesome. But then it begs the other question. Like, they've obviously spent a lot of money to make this game. So how the fuck do they make money on that game?
But I'm not sure. You say they spend a lot of money on this game, but like they reuse like most assets are from Titanfall 2. Like a lot of the weapons and stuff are weapons you got from Titanfall 2, right? So it's like a lot of the design stuff they've done already. It's on the engine of Titanfall 2. It uses like the same gameplay mechanics as Titanfall 2. The controls very much the same. It's very much like a mod for Titanfall 2. There's time and effort spent into it, right?
Yeah.
But it's not like this comes out of nowhere or anything.
I can understand that. It's not built from the ground up, but it is, you know, like you say, they spent time and effort on this game. So what I was thinking is like, why would they do this? Why would they give you something that's for free, and how are they going to make money out of it? Obviously, how they're going to make money is releasing maps and things in the future, and perhaps
I think the maps will be free as well. I think that it's going to be only like the skins and stuff like that, the seasonal skins, and like what they've done, which is smart. I think they monetized all like a lot of stuff. Like you have voice lines. You have skins. Yeah, you have skins for every weapon. You got skins for your character. You got background skins for like you see in the beginning of the game. You got like all kind of badges that you can pay for. You have like in the map itself, there are giant billboards on which like the best players of the game are like situated, so that you can see like on those giant billboards, like, oh, this guy is on top right now, and you have like different type of backgrounds for those for those stuff as well. So there's a lot of stuff that you can pay for, but I don't care about that. But I know other people do care about it. But other people do care about that.
You also get loot boxes. Like every time you level up, you also get a loot box. So, you know, it doesn't Do you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like, I mean, you get that stuff randomly, and you also get like currency. The more you play, you get more currency in game, so you can spend that stuff to unlock stuff. So it really doesn't feel like you have to buy anything.
But it's with Overwatch and with Fortnite, which also have been making giant amount of money. Like,
yeah,
I don't know,
but
Fortnite was it like it like meant multiple hundreds of millions, like 500 million or something last year.
Yeah,
and it's a free-to-play game. Right.
Fortnite is more in your face with the microtransactions, and Overwatch was not a free-to-play game. So I think they are a little bit different. But I think, like, interestingly, I believe the reason that you got this game in the first place is because this is EA's apology to the gaming community. I believe that this is a calculated PR move by EA. To give you something like really high quality for free, and have like loot boxes that aren't like intrusive or whatever, to sort of like kind of heal up their black eye that they got over the last couple of years. And people will say, oh yeah, nothing to do with this, but I think that's EA basically distancing themselves. But everybody knows it's from EA. Do you know what I mean? But it's so I think this is like a really interesting calculated PR move for those people.
I disagree. I think it's just.
What?
I think they're gonna make a lot of money from this. Like I don't think that nobody's gonna pay. A lot of people play it. A lot of people are willing to pay money to get like new stuff. Like it's not that weird.
But they're gonna make honest money. Do you know what I mean?
I know they're gonna make honest money, but it's definitely a calculated move to make money. It's not like they're doing this as like a free games. Like, okay, we've been EA, we've been so shitty over the last few years. Here's this cool game for free that you can play. Now they're still gonna make this to get money. They're gonna make money because it's a good game with microtransactions that are not like bad, but there's still stuff that people want to pay money for.
Oh, we'll see how it turns out. I tell you what. I tell you now, EA, for your benefit, I'm not going to spend a single fucking penny on your game, even though I think it's pretty great.
Me neither, but there are other people who are willing to do that. So
yeah, idiots.
Whales.
Yes, whales.
That's what they're going for.
Those dirty Koreans. Not that I have anything against Koreans.
What?
I love Koreans. Well, I don't know. Just imagine like all these like whales in Korea, who play like the esports and stuff. I don't know.
They're not just in Korea; they're also in other places. But people are just willing to buy. Like there are. I've definitely known people that have paid like more money on Overwatch, like loot boxes, than like a full game. They paid like €100 on just Overwatch or more even, right? Those people exist. Because they want the coolest skins. They want the nice new skins. They want the coolest stuff.
Those people really, really need to like readjust their life priorities. Like,
I don't know. If they get like shit ton of money, like if that's the game they play for like 10, 20 hours a week, then why not spend some money to make your experience better because it's a new skin?
Again, you play 20 or 30 hours of Overwatch per week. You need to readjust your life priorities. Anyway, play something else. Play something else, please. Have a nice variety of video games. Like, Jesus Christ. Anyway, we're getting off point here. But yeah, Apex Legends, great. Go play it. But don't spend 20 or 30 hours playing that every week. Don't spend 20 or 30 hours playing any video game every week. So, go like spend 10 hours doing this, 10 hours doing that, 10 hours doing that. Play 3 video games for 10 hours each. Variety is the spice of life, as they say. Ironically, then, if you I guess if you do that, don't expect to get better at anything. But never mind. So I'm going to talk about a movie I saw relatively recently. A movie in a franchise that I personally love. So I saw The Predator. Yeah, yes.
So talk about a big budget grindhouse movie.
The Predator, yes. Let's talk about The Predator. So The Predator is the fourth, discounting the Alien vs. Predator series, is like the fourth movie. So the first one is obviously a masterpiece. Second one is like really underrated, excellent film. Predators, the third movie in the franchise,
I forgot. I mean, there's a reason why I've already forgotten about Predators.
I kind of like that one, actually. I felt like Predators is pretty fun.
Yeah,
Right.
it's all right. That's the thing,
Like-
though. That's what I was going to say about Predators. Like, Predators is a movie. Like, okay, so Predator 1, right, is a masterpiece, as I already said. Like, undisputed. Predator 2 is like this really underrated movie. Many people don't like it. I think it's great.
Yeah,
and my
I
child
would
think
probably put like Predator 2 on the same level as Predators.
fuck off. No way. And then Predators is this movie that people generally liked, but I just thought, I watched it. It's like, it's all right. Or whatever. It's not bad. It's not good either. You know what I mean? It's just right in the slack bang in the middle. So then we come to finally the Predator. So Shane Black coming back to Predator. I would say he was a screenwriter of the first one, but I now know that to be false because we've had discussions about this on that podcast. He wasn't. But he was an actor in the first one. Then he's coming back, kind of, I guess, in a way, kind of coming home to Predator, the Predator, and now he's written and directed this one. So you would think that, amazing. Shane Black's back in the house. Obviously, this is a project that he's passionate about. He's going to bring this series back to its glory days or whatever. But yeah, no, it's bad. It's
really bad. Yes, I know.
it's really quite bad. Yeah.
I enjoyed it though for the most.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
me too. I enjoyed it as
too.
well.
It's trashy as fuck, and it's more of a comedy than a normal Predator movie, I guess.
It actually made me laugh out loud multiple times
Me too.
throughout the movie.
I was actually like raising my fist in the air and was yelling yes at the screen at a specific scene. But
Like whatever, like Sterling K. Brown is doing in this movie, it just makes me laugh like a lot in this movie. It's like the really bad, he's super evil, like incompetent bad guy, and the way he goes out in this movie just is like hilarious. Like the way he dies in this movie, it's just like, what the fuck just happened? This is amazing.
Actually, one
all the
of
death
the
scenes are hilarious, kind of.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Human Metal, the death scenes. Actually, one of the great points about this movie is the way that the characters die are pretty inventive and just fun.
Yeah.
Like the guy, spoiler alert, the guy who gets his fucking legs cut off by the shield of the Predator ship. I remember I watched that scene. I was like, damn, I've always wondered what would happen if that happened to someone. If one was just standing outside of a spaceship when the shield came on. And now you know. Get the legs cut off.
Whoops.
Oh yeah, it's like one of those movies that's almost so bad that it's kind of good in a way. I mean,
thing
it's
is-
terrible.
The thing is, I think the problem most people had with it is it was going against their expectation. They were expecting like maybe now another Predator 1, but I was looking, even when I hadn't seen it yet, I was like, look at the movies that Shane Black made in, the last years. You got the Nice Guys, you got Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, you got Iron Man 3, you got the Lethal Weapon stuff, or at least he wrote those, and you're like, I don't think he's gonna make Predator
also,
1 again.
I think Predator 1, you can make Predator 1 again because
Or
everybody
something
already-
in that vein. He's not
but-
going to make a straightforward horror action movie.
But that doesn't work as well because everybody already knows what a Predator looks like. You can't do that's like bait and switch anymore because it doesn't work because you already got the Predator 1. The same with Aliens, Alien and Aliens. Like you can't do Alien again because everybody already knows what the alien looks like. You can't really be surprised by that the same way anymore.
Well, you
Like,
can
you
still make a
say-
suspenseful movie out of it.
Yeah, you say that, Bragg, but then Aliens came out and
but that's what I mean. Aliens goes balls to the wall in comparison to Alien 1. Like you can't make Alien again. That's why they didn't try to make Alien again. They made Aliens, which is like a way different type of movie. It's more of like an action. That's actually what this is more like supposed to be, maybe like a bit of like a more like action movie with like a crew of people being in the shit, right?
Yeah.
And that's what this movie tries to be a little bit as well at times.
Yeah, and I think
way.
I think people didn't expect it to go that comedy heavy. Like, this is definitely it's got his Shane Black's handwriting all over it in terms of how the jokes are built. What?
Yes and no. The thing is, like Human Metal, you gave many examples of the movies that Shane Black made of recent years and stuff, but the simple fact is that those films are good. This one is not.
Yeah,
You know what I
but
mean? Like- The problem I had with it. Let me explain myself here. And the problem I really had with this movie is, don't get me wrong, like, I'm fine for not repeating Predator 1 again. I didn't want that, you know. However, and I enjoy like a more comedic, fun take. I mean, Predator 2 is like a straight up like crazy fucking schlocky B movie, and I love it for it.
Yeah.
However, this movie was written so fucking badly at points. I mean, so badly. I mean, it's only like maybe some of the points where it's so bad that it's good that really kind of save it, and also some of the like crazy schlocky death scenes. But like, I would equate this movie to someone who has no screenwriting credits at all, who loves Predator, and it's just like, if I sat down and when I was 16 years old and was like, I'm going to write a Predator script, this is what I would write. Basically,
yeah, kind of.
So everything you want as a fan is in here, and that's why for us as kind of fans of the franchise, or fans of like B movie SF movies, that's why it's a lot of fun. But like the general plot line is crap, and the dialogue is crap. I mean, like, for every joke that works, there are about 5 or 6 that just don't, and you're just like,
I would say the ratio is higher.
Yeah, I think the ratio is high as well. I think my biggest problem with it wasn't the plot line, which of course the plot line for this type of movie.
I have to agree with you on that. The plot is really bad.
It's bad. It's dumb. I just don't disagree. I think the biggest problem was like probably the editing. Like I said, how much I left. How much
editing
I left
is horrible.
At like at like Sterling K. Brown's death, right? I love out loud at that, but it's like, I know literal people that watched that movie that missed that. Because it was edited in such a way that you like barely notice it. Like, it's middle of an action scene and then boom, he's gone. And I literally know people that like walked out of the movie and it's like, what the fuck happened to that Sterling K. Brown's character? Like, I don't remember him dying or anything, because the way it was edited was so bad.
I mean, the movie was had to do a lot of, or was doing a lot of reshoots. I'm aware of that. They had to change like the finale completely, because initially it was entirely set during the daytime, and then they were like, okay, we can't bring any like action suspense in this, so we're gonna reshoot these scenes at night, and that made production worse and everything. So this movie was a very troubled production, and you see that in every like corner of this movie. Like, there's so much stuff that does not fit together or does not work, and one scene happening after another that should not come after that scene, and some characters doing random things. Like, nothing in this really comes together. But there's so many fun things about the parts that don't fit together that it's still like, okay, I had a good time, but yeah, it's not a good movie.
There was one moment in the film that really demonstrated how shoddily this was edited, and that was, I think it's at the part where the Predator dies at the end of the film and is dead, and it does this fadeaway transition to the next shot. But the fadeaway transition is so quick. Like, it's like Predator's head. Zip! Whoa, we're into the next scene. I remember just seeing that scene, was like, what the fuck? It's like someone got on Microsoft Movie Maker, someone who didn't know how to use Microsoft Movie Maker, and just like edited that scene. It was just like, it was one of those things that you watch and you just like, who the fuck okayed that scene?
It feels like they wrapped that, doing the movie, shooting the movie, and then they realized, oh shit, the movie's coming out, like, it's gonna be in cinemas, like, at the beginning of next week. Now we have to edit it. And it's like, okay, what do we do? Okay, this scene is fine. Maybe we put this one here and this one here. It feels like a total rush job.
It was really bad in places. I mean, like, it's a fun idea, but what's up with the Predator dog? How did that pay off at all? The Predator dog. Like, there was absolutely no payoff to that scene whatsoever.
It was cute, right? Kinda, I guess.
I guess the Predator dog was kind of cool, but they had this retarded Predator dog, which was literally retarded because it kind of got lobotomized, and and then it sort of was introduced as this character that seemed to be protective towards the girl character, right, or something, and then did jack shit, and then just disappeared completely. What happened to it? Like,
Yeah,
I think it got killed somehow, but like,
I don't think so. I think they just left things out of the movie that were, I don't know, to cut down the time or whatever, and some things got left by the wayside. I think the same thing happened to Venom actually, where like there are like things introduced in the plot of that movie, and you expect some payoff for that, and that's not coming, or some people appear, and you're like, wait, what? Who's that? Why that now? Okay. And I think those movies kind of suffer from the same problem.
Unlike Alita, I actually recommend you to watch this movie at home, right?
Yeah.
To watch it like with some beers, with some pizza, with some food, whatever, and like maybe with friends where you can laugh at it at the same time.
I watched it with 3 friends of mine, and we had a blast. We were laughing constantly at that movie. So it's a dumb movie night movie.
Yeah, I watched it by myself and thought it was crap and also quite amusing at the same time. Like it's it's a genuine guilty pleasure. It's one of those movies that's undoubtedly shit, but you can enjoy it on some level.
Yeah.
Just for the sheer brashness of it, because it's so, like I'd say, it's so fan fiction-y, it's so over the top, it's so in your face that you can't help but just kind of enjoy it on some level.
And then it does this really weird sequel bait thing and setup, and it's like, what? Anime Predator now, or what is
Which
happening?
also felt like it's completely shot by like a different director or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel the same as the rest.
Crazy. Oh man. That I would like to see like a making of or behind the scenes thing for this, because this is a mystery how this even became a movie at all. Oh, that was shown in cinemas, but whatever. Yeah.
An enjoyable clusterfuck.
Oh yeah.
So, with that, we're going to move out the shallows and into the depths. Welcome back to the depths. So I have been remiss. I have been very remiss. So happy New Year, everybody.
All right.
It's kind of late. It's kind of late.
Yeah. It is very late for us, unfortunately. But happy New Year. It's 2019. So that begs the question, what are we looking forward to in 2019? So let's talk about that. We each have 2 choices of things that we are looking forward to in 2019. So let's talk about that. As I already said, I'm repeating myself. What can I say? I would like to say I'm drunk, but actually I'm sobering up now. I was drunk, very, very drunk, watching a double bill of Romancing the Stone and the Jewel of the Nile. But now I'm recovering from that, and I've come out the other side. So let's get it on. Brack, what is the first thing you are looking forward to?
The first one on my list is a video game, and it's there are actually not that many games this year coming out that I'm looking forward to. Like most of the games coming out this year, they seem less exciting to me than the games I still got on my backlog from last year, right? So
2019 seems to be like, sorry to interrupt you there, Brack, but 2019 really seems to be like, do you know what I mean? The last gasp of this current generation. Do you know what I mean? Like
really?
the tailing out of this generation before. I guarantee, like this year's E3 or whatever, it's going to be PlayStation 5 announcement and shit like that. It's going to be the next generation.
Sony is not at E3 though.
Because Sony is not going to be on E3 this year.
Or maybe they'll announce it at their own press conference. The Sony
still
press
has
conference.
like, at least like 4 or 5 like AAA games like in the pipeline for PS4, right?
Yeah,
we're going to talk about one of them. So.
But I feel like most of those aren't even coming out this year. Like whatever Hideo Kojima is making that game.
Hideo Kojima.
Whatever fucking his game is making with
Death Stranding.
With Norman Reedus. That's probably not coming out this year. It's probably coming out next year. There's that samurai game from the Infamous guys. It's probably coming out this next year. And some other stuff. Like, I think next year is going to be that final last hurrah of like the PS4 of this generation. And
You'd be right.
And this year, it's just like people just are already working on their games for next gen, but not for this gen anymore. But there are still some games for this gen not out yet. So I think next year is last year. But
this is the fucking desert year, basically.
Yeah, kind of. But there's still some cool stuff coming out. There's a lot of cool stuff coming out, but nothing as exciting as like last year's like God of War or Red Dead Redemption 2 or stuff like that.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, and Kingdom Hearts 3, even though that came out this year, but it's like super early this year, so it doesn't really. I didn't count it. But one game I'm looking forward to that is still coming out this year. That's barely a game, I think. Like it's more like a
Crackdown 3, is it?
And that's also barely a game. No, it's Dreams by Media Molecule, and it's you might know them from like Little Big Planet, and this game, Little Big Planet already was like a game that was very focused on like level creation and character creation, and some people could even break it to make like not platforming games, to make other type of games. But this Dream seems to be like a full-on, very accessible, very easy to use game creator. Like I've seen stuff people have made in like in the beta, and it just feel like it just looks like full-blown like games that people have made in like 20 hours. It's pretty insane. So I'm curious to get that game when it comes out. I really hope it's successful, so I can actually create some of my own levels or maybe play other people's creations in that.
There's some very strange sound effects coming from them. Coming from the headphones. What's that about? There's another one. Who's playing around with the sound effects on their PC right now? Hands up.
It's not my PC. It's something on my table that just like I accidentally wiped my fingers next to it. Like it's like a ding sound. And you know, I could record that sound, right? And I could use it in Dreams as like a guitar sound or some shit, or some sound when an enemy gets hit or whatever.
Yeah, what I've seen about or heard about Dreams sounds incredibly ambitious and crazy, and people, you know, recreating entire games and that thing. And I really, more than playing it, because I'm not the creative type when it comes to game things, you know, like let's say Super Mario Maker, I was more the guy who played the levels and create levels by myself, or for myself. I'm very interested to see what people do with it, more than actually playing around in that world as well. I want to see like the most creative, you know, fans, whatever, players out there going crazy with those possibilities, and, you know, create the craziest, most extensive, I don't know, most ambitious games themselves with that playground and those tools.
I think for me, my interest level is at the same level as the Terminator's fatality rate in Terminator 2, 0.0%. Even though that makes literally no percent, because how can you get 0.1% on a fatality meter? Anyway, what's the point for? You either kill someone or you don't. But
all right.
Well, yeah, so I just not interested in that. I mean, I enjoyed Little Big Planet and stuff, but as like Human Metal as a game, the creative stuff, I don't know, that's just not me. And I find as life goes on, there is less and less time to play video games, and I actually want to play video games. I'm not interested in map creators or any kind of like, you know, creation tools or whatever. So I just think Dreams isn't for me. It's a good game. It probably is a very good game for those people who like to indulge in that type of thing. It's just not my bag. You know, that's all I have to say about it. I mean, I'm sure like I will amusingly watch like Human Metal, like some YouTube video about some guys recreated the entirety of Shenmue in Dreams or whatever. But as for playing it myself, it's not my bag.
All right, that's a possibility. Like I'm not even sure if I'm gonna enjoy it, but it's like the most ambitious game coming out this year, so that's one of the main reasons I'm curious for it.
Oh yeah, it's definitely ambitious. I will certainly give it that. I'm like I say, I will definitely watch some YouTube videos about like people who create crazy things. So I guess I'm going to go next, and oh Christ, sorry everybody. I'm going to talk about something that's coming up very soon, in a month or so. So if you're listening to this past April or whatever, then sorry about that. You've missed the boat, but alternatively, go back and watch it. I am going to talk about this year's WrestleMania. So I'm a huge wrestling fan, and I really feel like this year's WrestleMania is looking like super, super good. Today, I'm coming off the back of watching Elimination Chamber, which was very fun. Actually, Elimination Chamber made me cry twice this year, actually, bizarrely, when The Miz lost
the match
his...
is so bad.
No, oh, come on, you Metal, no. The Miz lost his tag team championship, shockingly, which got elicited an emotional response out of me, just because I'm a huge Miz fan. And also, recently Kofi Kingston suddenly came out of nowhere and got everybody on his side, a bit like Becky Lynch, the man, suddenly got 100% of the, pro wrestling fans basically behind him suddenly from one performance on SmackDown, and then he put in a monster performance again in the Elimination Chamber, and I think 100% of people wanted to see him win. And then when he lost, it actually made him cry a little bit. Even though I was voting for Daniel Bryan to win that match, which he eventually did, actually. But when Kofi Kingston lost,
as long as Randy Orton did not win the match, I'm okay.
Thankfully, he did not.
Although worst outcome.
He got a brilliant RKO off on AJ Styles when AJ Styles went for the phenomenal forearm, and Randy Orton caught him in an RKO, go for the phenomenal forearm. That was brilliant. But even though Daniel Bryan won the Elimination Chamber, I still, for some reason, his 11-year struggle, Kofi Kingston, to be taken seriously, and suddenly he gets his chance and gets everybody on his side, and he goes through the Elimination Chamber and then comes up short by like a fraction of a second or whatever. I don't know, it just got me somehow. It's just like, and the way the rest of the New Day came out to like console him while he was crying on the floor, it totally, just wrenched on whatever heartstrings that I have left.
That's good writing. I mean, that's what wrestling is all about. Like, making you care about the characters that these people play. So, job well done, I guess.
Yeah, it did. It got me. In fact, they showed screenshots of the audience or whatever, and there were quite a few people also crying in the audience about it. So it was one of those like pretty intensely emotional moments. But this year's WrestleMania is great because there are many great things coming up. You got Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins. Finally, hopefully, going to see Brock Lesnar dethroned.
Oh God, yes, please, finally.
Yes, exactly. Anybody who can dethrone Brock Lesnar, because he's been on the top for such a long time. So that should be great. And the thing is, like, every single time, in the past like year or something, you think, yes, Brock Lesnar's definitely going to get dethroned. He doesn't. Yeah. He just, I'm 100% sure. If I could stake my life on something, I'd stake that. Oh shit, he won. Like,
and I'm not sure Seth Rollins is going to do it again.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. Everybody's sure, like Seth Rollins is definitely going to do it, and is he though? But we could see it.
I'm more interested in the women's title match, though. That's been coming for a while now, and I hope Becky Lynch finally gets her, her big WrestleMania moment.
Yeah,
she deserves it.
Yes, I absolutely think she will. However, what she did on Elimination Chamber pissed me off because she came off like a psychopath. But rather than like, well, go watch that. You might be interested. But yeah, I'm with everybody else. I'm with Becky Lynch. That's going to be an amazing match. You got Charlotte, who's like a fucking great heel, and you got Ronda Rousey, who just who's so powerful and just needs to have her like trap shut. Although after Elimination Chamber and what happened, I kind of want to see Ronda Rousey get a bit of revenge on Becky Lynch as well.
I mean, they tried to get her over again, I guess, because, when she and Becky faced off, she was like, the last time everyone was on Becky's side. And she's supposed to be the heel in this but she's more of a Steve Austin heel, where everybody is like on her side, everybody wants her to win. And Ronda is supposed to be like the face, and it's not working when those two are against each other. So I don't know. Maybe that was their idea of dealing with that.
Yeah, I think so. Although, like I said, they should be careful with Becky Lynch, how far they push the violence level specifically, because I really thought that Becky Lynch came off like a psychopath in Elimination Chamber, because she was just, she came in, she beat up Charlotte Flair with a crutch, which is okay. But then she's like turning to Ronda Rousey, hey, you want to beat up Charlotte Flair? And then Ronda Rousey's like, yeah. And then when Ronda Rousey had a back turn, Becky Lynch just laid into Ronda Rousey with a crutch. And not only that, busted Ronda Rousey open, and Ronda Rousey was just bleeding. And you're just thinking, that's a fucking dick move, Becky Lynch. Like, and she's the way she's got that, like,
did people cheer?
They were, of course they were, but she had this like really smug smile on her face, and I was just like, that's kind of pushing the boundaries of like, of what is.
We'll see how it plays out. That makes it even more interesting because I haven't seen it yet, and it's like, hey, maybe the cards are getting reshuffled again, and more people will be for Ronda in the WrestleMania match. So it could be. I think it's either way. It's going to be a great match. It's going to be entertaining as fuck. So yeah.
Of course, going into the main event, I don't know who he's going to be facing, but you have the best WWE champion for many, many years, who's the new Daniel Bryan, who, if you don't watch wrestling, it's hilarious. He replaced his championship, that was leather and gold and diamond, made of hemp and wood.
Because he's the eco guy. He's all about like Mother Nature owes us nothing, and we should pay respect and blah. And we are the thing that's wrong with the planet. That's the thing. Everything he's saying is correct.
Is he like an eco-terrorist, like wrestler?
Kinda, yeah. He is, and everything he says is correct. That's the problem. And everybody's like, yeah, he kind of, he has a point. He's not wrong.
He comes out and says, obesity is the number one, problem in America because you spend all your time eating, junk food and you're drinking soda and whatever, and you should really eat healthily and eat, more vegetables and get more exercise like this. And everybody's like,
I'm just waiting for the millennial socialist wrestler. But,
he kind of is that already.
Yeah, that's exactly what Daniel Bryan is. It's like every single thing he says is correct. He says it in a way that just riles people up, which is hilarious. That's why I love him so much.
He's smug about it.
Yeah, he is.
He's very good at playing that character. I really like what they're doing with him.
I think he's the best WWE champion for a long, long time. So I'm looking forward to whatever he does at WrestleMania. So there you go. I won't even get into the Miz and Shane McMahon, but I'm also looking forward to that. But WrestleMania, great stuff. I think it's a great time to be a wrestling fan with AEW and stuff. The WWE's major competitor now starting up, and the WWE have really had to sort of change up their usual shtick and are pushing guys to the top that wouldn't usually go there. And there's a general attitude of just change and like progressiveness in the WWE that wasn't there before. So it's a really fun time to be watching wrestling. But anyway, I know everybody's sick and tired of hearing me talk about wrestling. So let's talk.
At least Bragg is.
Yeah. It goes on for a long time.
It just feels like a long time, Bragg. But wrestling, anybody who actually listens to the podcast who actually likes wrestling would be like, oh yeah, that's great. Anyway. What's next on your list, Bragg?
No, I'm next.
He's next.
Oh, yes, he is. Sorry. I totally forgot about you, as did your father and pretty much everybody else in your life.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Until I fist him with a giant water bottle. Yes. Anyway, there we go. The thing I picked first is a game, well, we didn't really talk about it, but we talked about, AAA games that are still coming out this year, and this being kind of like the beginning of the last hurrah for this generation, console generation. So there's still one big title that's coming up, from Sony. We had Spider-Man, we had God of War, Death Stranding is coming up, and hopefully, and the other big one that's still, out there somewhere is Last of Us Part 2. We don't really have a release date yet, but I'm very hopeful that we're going to see that this year. And I was very ambivalent about it when it got announced because, as I have already mentioned many times when we were talking about this game, I think the first one is kind of perfect in terms of the story it told and how it wrapped up and everything. And I didn't really need a continuation of that. However, after seeing, the newest trailers and everything from E3 last year and all that, I was really happy to get another one of those. I was like, okay, all right, you got me, Sony. I definitely want to see. It looks amazing, like just in terms of graphics and atmosphere. The game builds up. My eyes were glued to the screen when that trailer got broadcasted during E3, and I was like, God damn. I really want to see what's gonna happen to these characters now.
Yeah, me too.
I know maybe stuff I won't like it, but goddamn, I want to find out for myself. And yeah, I can't wait. I so far Naughty Dog hasn't really failed me. I was kind of lukewarm on Uncharted 3.
Wait. Did you say a Naughty Dog has never really felt you? Because we damn know that's not true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, they haven't really failed me. So I'm looking forward to this. I believe that those guys can dish out another stellar entry in that series. And visually, it already looks stunning. So, yeah, here's hoping. Here's hoping it's going to be... I won't even dare to say that it's going to be better than the first one. I can't imagine. But, yeah, we'll see. Maybe it will be just as good, and that would be fucking amazing. I know Bragg is looking forward to it, too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot. Like, I actually haven't even watched the gameplay from E3 yet, because I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm already going to play it. So I'm not gonna watch the gameplay. Like
that's probably a smart choice, yeah.
But like you said, I thought The Last of Us on its own was perfect, and I don't really need another one. But they have built up enough goodwill for me that I'm like, yeah, of course I'm gonna check it out. Like even if it's bad, I'm gonna check it out. Like there's not a world I live in that I'm not gonna play that game.
Yes.
So yeah, like. Just hope it's good. Like I feel maybe a little bit the same way I feel like about like Better Call Saul, like compares to Breaking Bad. Like Better Call Saul is like a show. It's like okay, I'm not there's no reason this show should exist, right? But it's damn good as well. It's still really damn good, and in some ways even better than Breaking Bad. So maybe it's gonna be like that. Like it's already something perfect, and like doing something, adding something to that feels useless. But there's also the possibility that it'd be just as good or even better. Yeah.
And I really like that they called it Part 2 and not just Last of Us 2, which means like, okay, this is for us, this is not just a continuation of the story, but the second chapter of these characters' story. And it belongs together with the other one. And it's gonna be like a cohesive vision that belongs, that forms a whole. And I hope I'm not reading too much into that, but that's what it feels like. And I hope it comes together in the end and becomes like this, masterpiece, 2-part, game story that I enjoy to the fullest. And I recently replayed Last of Us Part 1, all of it, played the DLC for the first time, and it definitely holds up. So, yeah. I hope it comes out this year. We'll see. Maybe when we do this list next year, I'll mention it again. I hope not.
Yeah, that's what I expected. That's the reason I didn't put it on my list, because I don't expect it to come out this year.
Here's hoping. Choo-choo, you are not as big of a fan of Last of Us as Breck and I are.
Well, I am a fan of wrestling though, and we have Money in the Bank and TLC coming up later in the year. So I think I'm all good. Come on, Human Metal, you're a wrestling fan. Put that together,
I get
please.
it, yes.
Okay,
sure.
He gets it.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
No problem.
Tell him, Human Metal.
What? No, I mean, I know what TLC is, but...
Like, he doesn't know, he didn't get my joke. The joke is about ladders.
Oh!
Ladders.
Sorry.
TLC. Tables, ladders, chairs.
Couldn't see the forest because of all the trees. My bad. Yeah, sure, ladder joke. No. I already forgot about that. Right, that was your shtick.
Yeah,
the ladder thing.
There you go. Circa 2015.
Fuck. Yeah.
Assembly. But no. Actually, I think my feelings about the original game were really, really summed up recently on OGS. Actually, I've forgotten who it was, but someone played The Last of Us for the first time. Just like a few weeks ago or something.
I know what you're talking about. I saw that post.
Yeah, viewpoint on the game was like, you know what? I really loved the storyline. I really loved the characters. I really loved the plot line, but the gameplay was fucking shit. And that's exactly how I feel about the game. Like that's how I felt about it. The plot line, the characters, brilliant, great. And I think I felt less severe than he did. Maybe. Like I felt there were points of the gameplay was decent, but there are also times where it's just like, I just didn't feel the gameplay of that game at all. in The Last of Us, and like as I said on OGS in reply to that guy, I was like, yeah, right on, man. I totally agree with your opinion. And so that's how I feel. So I don't know about how I feel about going into The Last of Us Part 2, because it really is like, it's really chalk and cheese for me. It's like plot line, dialogue, great. Love the characters, love the, you know, the general kind of like the way that they talk to each other and stuff. I love the writing. The gameplay though, I just it's so at best for me. I'm just not into that. So I just don't know if I'm going to play it or not. I know that's not a very exciting answer, but that's, you know, that is my answer.
Well, either way, our listeners are going to hear about that game a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I will be playing it. I will be like having like my phone open to count every letter I will find.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
Now we only need tables and chairs as well in that game.
And snakes, right? Oh, snakes and ladders.
I've forgotten. There was a point that the ladder debate got so serious that Brack actually like researched.
Yeah, I googled how many letters there
actually
were in the game, and it wasn't that many. There's like less than 10 letters in that game.
How did you find out? Who counted them?
No way. You see, that's the thing. Like, you know, it's fucked up when someone actually has to count the amount of ladders in a game. Do you know how many ladders I see in my daily life? 0. Anyway.
I think it's the last.
You're not a janitor.
This is on the Last of Us wiki. You can actually find it, and there's even less. There are like 8. There are 8 letters.
What? No way.
Yes. There are also plagues. There are also plagues. Don't forget about the plagues, which are also
and pallets. Yeah.
4. There are 4 plagues. Like, you were just very overreacting, I found, to the amount of letters, which are like very little.
Maybe it's because
it's like less than a letter an hour, for sure.
Well, yeah, but again,
this is the
point.
same.
Like, how many?
This is the same discussion we had the first time.
This is the quality content our listeners crave. Great A Last of Us trivia.
I don't think we'll ever live this ladder like Last of Us thing down, because I swear to God, like 90% of my time in The Last of Us was spent carrying around ladders to various positions and or climbing up them. So Brack, what's next on your list?
That's next on my list is you know, whenever like Tarantino comes out with a new movie, it's like an event, right? For me at least, it is. Like, oh, there's a new Tarantino movie. I can't wait to see it. And it's the same this year with his new movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is about the Charles Manson murders. Even like, I'm not sure if you know about the real story, like about Roman Polanski. His family was murdered by like followers of Charles Manson, and he's going to be like a character in this movie as well. And that's about it. That's all I know about it. Like, that's about it. I know the actors who are in it. There's like DiCaprio and Brad Pitt and like a lot of Al Pacino and like Kurt Russell and like a lot of like amazing cast, of course. Like every Tarantino movie has like an amazing cast. But besides that and the Manson murders, I have no clue what it's about.
Me neither. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Tarantino is a name, so and that story being told through that lens is probably going to be very interesting.
Like, the only picture that's shown of it is like DiCaprio and Brad Pitt in like leather jackets, and that's all I've seen of that picture so far. And like, oh yeah, and that's enough. That's like, oh yeah, that's it. Like, yeah, I will see it now. Just that picture is enough to sell me on the movie.
The Roman Polanski thing was dealt with in another movie. Jesus, what was that film? I don't know what it was. It was like, I want to say it was Zodiac, but I don't think that's correct. Was it Mindhunter, the TV show? I don't know what it was.
Maybe it's Mindhunter. That's a weird story. Shit, I'm not sure. The guy who plays Charles Manson, right, in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, is also going to be playing Charles Manson in Mindhunter Season 2. That's cool. The same actor. So there's like a little, that's kind of like a funny trivia. So that's like, that world is kind of connected in a way because it's the same actor playing it.
Yeah, I don't remember like the exact.
But it's not in Season 1. It's only in Season 2. So.
Yeah. I don't remember exactly like what it was, but I do remember like in a different movie the whole Roman Polanski, Charles Manson thing being dealt with. I just don't quite remember what film it was, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be fun. I'm sure it's going to have the usual kind of Tarantino flair. Besides, I think Tarantino has that thing where he subverts history to his own ends, right? So I mean, you can look at the history of that type of thing, but who knows what the fuck is going to happen during those films? I mean, who knew that Hitler was going to die during Inglourious Basterds or like stuff like that? He generally, like, he has such a liberty with what he can do with those movies. I mean, you know, if like Charles Manson turned out to be some kind of like exploding lizard monster or whatever, that devours the souls of human beings or whatever. I mean, would you really be surprised in a Quentin Tarantino movie? Probably not.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So it's got a level of unpredictability that you could say, oh, this is going to be a straight up historical documentary with snappy dialogue or whatever. But who the fuck knows? Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, you never know.
It's probably going to be very Inglorious Bastards.
Yeah, and like, you know how Tarantino loves like 70s movies and stuff. So it's kind of weird that I don't think he ever made a movie set in like that period of time in Hollywood. So he's probably going to play a lot with those type of movies.
Ooh, yeah, that does sound like a lot of fun.
So
Yeah, there you go. I mean, Quentin Tarantino can't. I mean, even Quentin Tarantino at his worst still pumps out pretty entertaining films.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a movie of his that I didn't give at least like a 7 out of 10. You know what I mean?
No, I'm not a fan of Kill Bill, which is odd. I know like everybody loves that film, but I'm just not a big fan of it. But still, I still enjoy that on some level. You know what I mean? I don't hate it, but I don't really like it either, to be fair. But that's just me. So I guess I'm going to talk about what I like coming up in 2019. So I also have a video game that I'm really looking forward to, and that is the much maligned Sonic racing game that should be coming out. I think in May 21st is its current release date.
It's called Team Sonic Racing Choo Choo.
Oh, Team Sonic Racing, sorry.
Yeah.
Team Sonic Racing. So
don't offend all the Sonic fans.
Hey, I played Sonic Forces and liked it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Sorry.
Yeah.
Continue
okay.
to shoot.
Even I was wise enough not to touch Sonic Forces, but yeah.
Well, then you don't know.
Yeah, no. But yeah, the reason I'm looking forward to Team Sonic Racing, thank you, Human Metal, was the fact that the previous Sonic Racing games were fucking excellent. But however, all the critics and stuff seem to really sort of like forgotten that fact, because there was Sonic games are shit. Whatever you read is about this blah 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 Sonic Racing. It doesn't look very good. Blah blah blah. Like, it's coming out too close to Crash Team Racing. Blah blah blah. This has gone through a bit of development. It's been in development too long. Blah blah blah. It's like, and that these games were never as good as Mario Kart. Blah blah blah. Yes, they fucking were as good as Mario Kart. They were better than Mario Kart, in fact. It's like, in fact, Mario Kart 8, which revamped the franchise, stole all of their fucking core ideas from Sonic All-Star Racing, right?
I thought it was from Diddy Kong Racing, but...
Well, no, hang on. It runs like this, basically. It's like you have Mario Kart and you have Diddy Kong Racing, right? And then what happened was you had Sonic All-Star Racing, which stole ideas from Diddy Kong Racing and Mario Kart, but also added the Outrun and F-Zero stuff in there as well. I mean, so they're ripping off things, but they amalgamated it into this perfect racing thing, and the Mario Kart 8 was like, okay, we'll just wholesale nick what they did and put it into our game. And then basically Mario Kart 8 just took the whole F-Zero, Outrun, Diddy Kong Racing, and of course Mario Kart stuff and added it into their game. So it was like, Sonic Sega All-Star Racing rip off Mario Kart. Mario Kart rips off Sonic Sega All-Star Racing. But their games were brilliant. I absolutely loved those. Some of the best karting games I ever played. But like in our sort of modern society of like everybody really disliking Sonic and not even giving Sonic a fair shake, even though a few of the Sonic games, specifically Sonic Racing, was really, really good. They seem to have lumped Sonic Racing in.
What's
The
good
main
about
game.
it's probably going to come out alongside that new Sonic movie. That's definitely going to give it an extra boost, guys.
Yeah, jeez. See,
I really
I
hope
hate.
they're going to have realistic Sonic in this game as well. That would be hilarious. It's like a skin or something, like an unlockable like skin.
Gotta go faster.
Yeah, you see, it's just like it's Sonicism. It's like racism against Sonic. You got like a Detective Pikachu movie coming out, which everybody's like, "Hey, yeah, oh
But
great!"
it actually looks good. There's a difference there. It actually looks good.
Well, we haven't seen a fucking trailer for Sonic yet, have we? Apart from him sitting on the bridge, and that's nothing. I mean, who knows?
Yeah,
It
but
might be
that looks-
amazing.
But it looked really bad. Like,
Yeah, those legs though.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I'm not saying like the movie might be good. Like, there's a chance the movie is good, but everything we've seen it from so far was really bad.
Bring it on, edgy. I just want to see like the Sonic movie be like just basically like John Wick with Sonic.
I would watch that, but that's probably not going to be it. And that's part. Somebody kills Tails and he's going to get for revenge. I would watch that.
Yeah.
But
Someone killed my dog.
but let's be honest. Like, Sonic is not as beloved of a character as Pikachu, right? Or do you think it is? Yes.
Not anymore.
Oh, fuck you, Metal. He's for me. He'll always be better than Pikachu in my heart.
I like Sonic more than Pikachu as well, dude. I'm just saying general audience wise.
That's it.
But like,
After this game,
there are
I'm gonna
other
go back
reasons why
and
I.
kick his ass with
There are
Sonic.
other criticisms for the game as well. Like, it seems like the first one, the last one was Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing, right? And it has like all those Sega characters in it as well, like not just Sonic characters. And it seems like this one only Sonic, right? And
Also, back to the roots, which Chuchu seems to like, but I actually prefer Transform much more over the original Sonic Racing. And since this is going back to driving only again, I am also kind of bummed out. Not because I'm saying, oh, Sonic is bad, fuck Sonic. No, I'm saying like, well, I like Transform the most. And actually, yeah, I like Transform probably more than Mario Kart 8 or 7. But this is not going to be that kind of game. At least that's not what it looks like.
And not just that, because from what I've seen, I've looked at some gameplay of it. There's like this weird, like, it is called Team Sonic Racing for a reason. There's like a team aspect to it. Like, there are different type of roles in there. Like, you can play like a defensive character, some
Which
shit.
makes it more interesting again.
I'm not sure. I feel like I don't want like another Overwatch, but now it's a Sonic Racing game. Like, I don't have time for that shit.
You
Right?
say that, Bragg, but Onrush was pretty good. I liked Onrush, and I
Yeah,
think
what do you got
maybe
on
that's-
Rush?
Yeah, but this might be a more fun version of Onrush, where you can actually, actually play an actual race as well. I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm looking forward to it.
I feel like it's competition, which is definitely like kart racing to its roots, which comes out like the same month, I think, which is the new the Crash Team Racing or whatever it's called, Crash Racing. That seems a lot more like my style, and I feel like that game is probably going to be kind of eat its lunch as well.
I
gotta say,
ironically, you were saying about characters you care about. Like, I couldn't give a fuck about the Crash Bandicoot characters.
Yeah,
I mean,
me
I don't know
too.
a single
It's like-
Crash Bandicoot character except for Crash Bandicoot himself. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely prefer the Sonic characters to that. But however, yeah, definitely.
That's age as well, by the way. I think people grew up more with Crash. They're a little bit younger than you guys, like the guys who played it as a kid on the PS1, which was me.
Yes.
But even then, I don't really care about Crash that much. But I played Crash Team Racing, so there's nostalgia there, of course. And I think the last Crash games have been really successful. The last, like the remastered Crash Remastered, has been pretty successful. So I think there's like a decent chance that these games kind of cancel each other out, which kind of worrisome with like the Sonic, because it seems like it's very reliant on online with like the team aspect that you play online with your friends, and if like nobody else is going to buy it, like if the sales are really bad, then online is going to suffer from it.
The thing is, like, I think everybody. The thing for me, like, everybody's counting Sonic out before. Everybody's saying, is it going to be not as good as Crash Team Racing or whatever, but everybody's counting them out when they have two games in the franchise which have kicked fucking ass. So I think, like, that feels a bit unfair. Like, people are buying into a stigma attached to Sonic that, you know, that particular team with that franchise have proven twice that they've made really fucking great karting games. The original was great, transformed, improved upon the franchise, and actually, Human Metal, I also agree that apart from the way that you unlock characters, I also liked Transformed better than the original. I definitely thought they went, you know, from good to great with that. So, definitely. Well, I guess the proof is going to be in the pudding. The proof is ultimately how it's going to play and what it's going to do. Scaling back the characters, yeah, that kind of sucks. But ultimately, I do also like the Sonic characters. I mean, there is a place in my heart for, like, you know, shit like Big and Big the Cat and shit like that from the Sonic franchise. So, well,
see, I think you said about Crash, but with Sonic characters, I actively dislike Sonic. So. It definitely plays against it. Like,
but at least you can imagine. At least you can think of some Sonic characters. Like I said, I can't think of a fucking single, apart from what's it, Dr. Cortex or something, his enemy, and there's some, like, I can't even remember the name of his bitch. You know, his bitch. That's really sexist. His woman. There's that fucking tiger boss. What's his name? I used to call him Tony the Tiger, but that's the fucking mascot from Frosties. So that's not right.
It's Tiny the Tiger.
For me, it all comes down to, like you said, you know, how well it plays, how interesting are the courses going to be, how well is the team mechanic integrated into the game, implemented into the game, and if that is done well, I might check it out too. If I hear something about it, say this is like really well thought out, and the courses are entertaining and everything, or this is a very good multiplayer game because of the team mechanic. So we'll see. But right now it's just like this. I
think here's the fact for me. I'm definitely not gonna buy this game for anything more than €15. Like, €15 is the price it has to go down to before I consider buying it.
It's the reviews that are going to count for me. If the reviews come out and it's a solid game and it looks fun, I'll pick it up, because I really, really, really enjoyed the last two games. Like, I still play Transformed occasionally, even now, these days, even though I have to fucking go into the next room and play the PlayStation 3. So, like, I really love that franchise. I really hope they're going to knock out on the park. I have faith that they will, but ultimately, if the reviews come out and it's like, yeah, this is a really bad game, like, probably...
I don't think it's going to be a bad game. I think at worst it's going to be like a 6 out of 10 or like a 7 out of 10 or something.
Which in this, you know, society means bad. let's be honest there. All right. So anyway, Human Metal. How about you? What's last on your list?
Last on my list is a bit of a cheat because it's kind of a double whammy. But at least I'm not the only one who's going to talk about it. So. Yeah, we're gonna have at least two. I think there are more that I can't think of right now. But we at least gonna have like two serious franchises that are gonna like end a significant phase of their existence this year. And that is both the Marvel Universe with the final Avengers movie, and after that, I think a lot of, you know, things are going to be different in terms of cast, in terms of, you know, what is going to happen with the story next, who's still around, whatever. And the other one being Game of Thrones, because the final season is almost upon us. And then, sure, we're going to get prequels, maybe some sequel series that's set far in the future or something, at least in that time frame.
I want the Legend of Korra of like Game of Thrones, where it's like
sure,
60 steps.
Maybe we get, but the main story, the story from the books that they've already gone beyond at this point. But yeah, you know, the stuff that you've come to know over the last couple of years, that's gonna end. And yeah, it feels like, okay, we're you know, transferring into a new era here. And I'm really, really looking forward to see how that final hurrah is going to look. How that
I'm really
that
curious,
exclamation point on those series and those franchises will look. I mean, I don't know what are we going to talk about first.
Let's talk about Marvel first.
All right.
I think that's going to be ending sooner, right? Like I feel like Avengers, whatever it's called, Endgame Endgame, right? Endgame is gonna be in like April or something. It's like it's really soon. Like before.
I mean, Game of Thrones starts in April as well, I think.
Yeah, but then it's still got 8 more weeks, right?
But it's still got 8. Is it 8 episodes or 6 episodes? I don't remember.
Maybe it's 6. I have no clue, actually.
Each of them is going to be movie length. They already said that, but still, yeah. So, yeah, but Marvel's probably going to be first. And, I mean, we already got the movie announced that's coming right after Avengers, which is the new Spider-Man movie. It's going to come up in June or July.
I'm going to talk a little bit about it. I think I kind of feel a little bit more excited for Spider-Man, personally. Right?
Maybe?
I thought the last Spider-Man was really good.
It was.
I really like. I'm a really big Jake Gyllenhaal fan. Like, I really like whatever the fuck he's doing. Like his weird performances. If you go on the internet, it seems like I'm the only person who liked Velvet Buzzsaw. I liked his performance in that. So I'm looking forward to what he's gonna do with Mysterio.
Yeah, I think
me too.
It really seems from the trailer that he's gonna be one of those type of bad guys that's pretending he's a hero.
Yeah.
To solve problems, but actually he's the bad guy. Like it looks like he's going to be a sneaky fucker in that one, which immediately makes it more fun.
And I like the whole setup. I like Peter going on this Euro trip and hanging out with Nick Fury and everything apparently. And just the whole setup sounds fun. The question is right now, when is this gonna be set? Is it gonna be happening immediately after Endgame?
No. They wouldn't do that. Like my own opinion is, remember in the last Avengers movie, he's on the school bus, right?
Yeah, he just came from.
So I reckon he's returning from his trip. But that's not true.
That's not true. Because he's got a school bus on a school trip, so now he's on vacation. It's not the same. He's not just. He's on a school trip to like whatever this museum called in New York. They told that in the movie. So
I reckon
it's not connected. It's not connected.
You don't know that though. Well, maybe it's not. But
they said it in the movie that they're like on a school trip to whatever the fuck that museum in New York is called, MoMA. They're on a school trip through MoMA.
Okay,
but
the thing is, like, I definitely everybody knows Spider-Man's coming back in Avengers Endgame, definitely.
Yes.
But like, I think to outright spoil, they wouldn't do that. Like, I absolutely reckon this film is before Avengers.
I kind of hope it is,
but it doesn't really.
It must be. Think about it logically. It must be. Otherwise, they're spoiling things for.
Yeah, but then they would have to give that away in the trailer, because now it's like everybody thinks almost everybody thinks it's set after Endgame, and by the point Spider-Man comes out, Endgame will already have happened, so it doesn't matter if the movie then, spoils his existence, because it was already kind of explored by the trailers, so it doesn't really matter at that point.
Yeah, it's kind of cheap though.
It's kind of weird when you don't wanna pretend it's before the movie, because you don't want to spoil the Endgame, but you don't make that clear at all. You know what I mean?
So, yeah, there's a lot of speculation what's going to happen in Endgame. I mean, there were already a lot of hints dropped in Infinity War, where it's like, okay, they got the time stone and everything, and maybe time travel will factor into Endgame and everything, and they're maybe going to reset the whole whatever happened in Infinity War and all that. So maybe, this is just going to be an alternate timeline where they never, fought Thanos. Who knows? Who fucking knows? But that's the thing. I want to find out. I'm really anxious and interested to find out what the fuck is gonna happen at the end of this Marvel Cinematic Universe phase. Yeah,
that's my problem a little bit. Like, from the last, 4 years of Marvel movies, right? The most exciting thing in general wasn't like that movie. It was like, oh, what's gonna happen in the next movie, right? Like every time it's more excited. I go out of the movie theater more excited for what's gonna happen next than what just happened. And I feel like if that's not going to fulfill that this time, then maybe that's not going to happen this time again, because that's not going to be next.
Well, yeah, but then again, a good movie is a good movie. I mean, you said you were more excited for Spider-Man, right? That's because the first Spider-Man was fucking great. I mean, sure, you want to see what happens next, but that as a standalone film, that was brilliant.
That's one of the exceptions, actually.
Winter Soldier as well was just a great fucking film. It just it was just so exciting and had badass action sequences and stuff. So there's always the hope that Marvel's going to absolutely knock a single film. And I think forgotten what it was called. Infinity War, was that the title
War,
of it?
yes.
Yeah. That was also just a really, really good film. I mean, sure, there's the excitement of what comes next, but as a standalone piece, that whole movie was also great as well.
I really liked Infinity War. I mean, it's overblown, it's gigantic, but I really had a good time. I've watched it twice so far, and I'm gonna rewatch it before Captain Marvel again. I'm currently going through all the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies again, just as a build-up towards Endgame.
Jesus.
And some of them hold up better, some don't. But definitely the ones you mentioned do, and I think Infinity War is one of those as well. I'm looking forward to Captain Marvel. That's coming first. Let's not forget that. I haven't watched the trailers because I don't want to, spoil anything about that. I don't know too much about the character, only the basics.
That's definitely a prequel, though.
Yeah, that's set in the 80s. So, I'm looking forward to looking at fucking younged up Samuel L. Jackson for the entire movie. Them working their CG magic again on making, actors younger. But yeah, that could be really cool. And I want to see what her role is going to be in Endgame, because obviously that's going to happen. That's why they're doing that movie first. So there's lots of stuff happening, and then of course it's going to be interesting to see what happens after that. Where are we going to be left? What's the next, big thing that they're building up towards after that? It's not going to be Thanos anymore. So what are we going to get now that Fox is, part of Disney after the merger? Is it going to be like X-Men versus Avengers?
It's going to be Galactus. You don't know. You're right.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic Four might also be in there. So who knows? Who fucking knows? And that's very exciting. At least if you like those movies, or if you are kind of
maybe it's the last Marvel movie I've seen. I didn't really like it much. It was Ant-Man 2. And the last DC movie I've seen, I actually really liked, which was Aquaman. I kind of feel like I really hope that the movies work more on like a standalone, like they're actually good on their own and don't really feel like it's just building up to something good.
Did you say you didn't like Ant-Man 2?
Yeah, I was kind of bored by Ant-Man 2.
Oh man, I really liked that film. I thought it was a massive step up from the first one. I thought that was a great film.
I thought they were on equal level, but I liked both of them. So
I kind of liked Ant-Man 1 more. I found like that the comedy in Ant-Man 1 was funnier, and the comedy in Ant-Man 2 felt like it's just a repeat of the comedy in Ant-Man 1.
I strongly disagree with you there. I thought Ant-Man 2 was significantly superior. But that's opinions, I guess. There you go. I don't want to get into that now.
At least both of you liked at least one Ant-Man movie. Let's that be the takeaway from this. So there you go. But yeah, exciting times to be a Marvel comic book whatever liker. So yeah, we'll see where we end up with this. But yeah, the other big thing is going to be Game of Thrones, and it's been quite a journey, and not all of it good necessarily. Also that series also had a few like smaller weak points here and there, but overall I really enjoyed it.
It's kind of weird how
great adaptation.
I feel like a weird Game of Thrones how that series has evolved over the years. From like feels like very much a drama in the beginning, like a political intrigue,
very dialogue heavy,
and it feels like they dumped down the political stuff a little bit in the last few seasons. And I'm curious how it's going to end up. It's going to be like 6 episodes or whatever it is of just straight up like battle scenes and action and whatever. Maybe, or are they going to like, have actually conversations?
I wouldn't say they dumbed it down, but it just felt like they just hit the accelerator too hard.
Yeah. Like they went fast. They're like, okay, we got to reach that specific endpoint because we're not going to be able to make that much more of this. Or we don't want to. And to get there, can't afford, and then to get there we have to like you said, hit the accelerator button, and that was definitely noticeable. It got a lot more streamlined, and I mean, not always to its detriment. I think some of the things that came from that were most straightforward action cinema, and some of that just looked downright amazing. It's like, even in the previous season, and I'm always careful to have you watched season 7?
Yes.
At this point?
Of course.
The Battle of the Bastards.
Well, you're always late to the party when it comes to this because of Japan, but, just to be sure. Anyway, so yeah, the fight where with the dragon against the army, Lannister army, and that was one of the most amazing fantasy action scenes I've seen ever. So very well staged. So yeah, I'm expecting much more like this in this last season.
Yeah,
and looking forward to it a lot. But yeah, I also that's also one of the things I wanted to do, and of course didn't have the time for that because that's even more of a time investment. Like watch all seasons of Game of Thrones before season 8 hits. I'd never be able to do that.
I am doing that.
Oh, nice.
Before I mean, but I'm in Japan, so I'm going to have a bit more time for you. So hence, I'm going to have to avoid spoilers like the plague. But I am absolutely going to go through. In fact, I've done that every single time before. I think I got into Game of Thrones around season 3, I think. But after I got into Game of Thrones, it hit me so. It's one of those things in my life that hit me so hard that like every single time a new season of Game of Thrones has come, I've gone back through the entirety of the Game of Thrones saga because I have like box sets out the ass and stuff. So definitely I'm going to watch the entirety of Game of Thrones before the new season. In fact, I should probably get on that because it's going to take me all year. But yeah, I absolutely love it. And like you say, they have lost a lot the kind of more detailed character development aspects.
And political intrigue. Like,
well, yeah, but the thing is, the political intrigue is done. There is no political intrigue.
No, but that's also part of it. It's like in the previous seasons, the first few seasons, it feels like there were so like many mechanics at work for getting somebody on the throne. And in last season, like Cersei bombs the church, and now she's queen. You know what I mean? Like
But that's the thing. Like the Game of Thrones was always, like you say, it was these intricate things, but in the background there was always a greater threat looming that had to be paid off. Right now, that greater threat is on everybody. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like it's and like season 7, like had to put aside that kind of like the more detailed character interactions, but it's not such a massive loss if you really think about it, because the major moments are still there. And plus, at this point, after so many episodes of this TV show, those characters, their motivations. I mean, what more can they really tell you? What do you want?
I'm not talking about the intrigue of the characters. I'm talking about how the world works seems to be completely different from season 1.
No, they're still exactly the same. But I think like you say, there's a major threat that's evolved.
Those the characters I'm talking about, they're not barely aware of that major threat. Like Cersei is barely acting like it's a real thing. You know what I mean? I'm talking about that side. The side of the world feels like it's evolved in a way where it feels not the same as season 1 or season 2, but they are not like affected by the threat yet.
That's because Cersei has killed all her enemies and she's at peace.
See,
right? Do you know what I mean? I think you're looking. I don't know. Like, I feel like plot-wise, it's solid. Like, I feel like the throughout the previous seasons, like, there was a lot of turmoil, but I think Cersei, in particular, decisively put an end to that. With her actions in season 6, she went through all the struggles up to season 6, and then with like you say, with the bombing, like that was the end of it. Pretty much all her enemies were like in that church, and then early on in the next season, in season 7, they took out Highgarden, right? So there's who else? A bunch of guys, like fucking what's his name, Shanks-a-Lot, the Stormcrows or whatever from the fucking woods are gonna come out and like contest King's Landing. But I think like naturally it's come to the point where there's that scene where Cersei is looking at the map of like the world and stuff, and she's like saying, basically at the beginning of like season 7, she's like, well, this is what we've done, we basically conquered the entire land. I think plot wise
it feels so much more oversimplified compared to the earlier seasons.
It definitely is.
It is. But the point is,
like in the last season, I think there's like the Iron Islands or whatever it's called, and then this uncle comes in, kills the king of the Iron Islands, and now he is king. And there's like the way it's done.
That's their culture.
The way it's done is it like in like 3 seconds. Like it's like a minute long, just to get to that point, right? That took like 3 minutes, right? It feels very like half dash.
I don't think so. I think that character came. Sure, he came out of nowhere, but I mean, what do you want to establish that character? Like a fucking scene with him sitting down eating lunch at a fucking pub or something? You know what I mean? Like, I disagree. I mean, I agree that like I don't think the politics or whatever. Like, I disagree with you on that point. I think it does what it needs to do. Um, However, I would have liked to have seen more expansion on that. Of course, I would have. I mean, the whole thing, like my personal sticking point is High Garden, right? The scene where they attack High Garden. Like, I wish there was more to that than just like the kind of like assassination scene. But um, ultimately, they do have budgets and they do have schedules and stuff. And I think with the limited amount of time that they have, I mean, what would you really change about that? I mean, if they have to do it in this limited amount of time, I mean, what can you reasonably expect from them? And I think whilst they have done away with kind of like you say, some of the intricacies and stuff, they do have spectacular battle scenes.
Yeah, I agree. I still enjoy it, but it feels like it changed from earlier seasons where it was like.
Well, it has, yeah.
It was like early seasons where it was like, I don't know. House of Cards in like in a fantasy world to just being like swords and soldiers fantasy fiction.
But then
which
again,
I'm still enjoying it. I'm still enjoying it, and it's still fun. It's still amazing. It's still probably the best fantasy on TV ever. I'm not saying disagreeing with that. I just feel like the world has changed in a way where it barely feels like it's the same world.
I don't. I can't really agree with you about that, Brack. But what other show can you really say? Like every single episode is like absolutely essential. Do you know what I mean? Like especially at this point in time, like everything is condensed. That every single episode is like gold. Like someone giving you a piece of cinematic gold at the moment. For me personally, anyway. So you can't miss a single episode because it's so condensed and so like it's just full of fireworks start to finish. Now that's what they've changed into. They've there were time for intrigue and all these kind of like intimate character developments, but now it's just like bang 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 bang. It's just like big hit after big hit after big hit. Every single episode is just balls to the wall, like flat out awesome. Every single episode is just like you come out the back of it saying, "Oh man, that's fucking amazing." It's only when you sit back and realize, think about it. It's like, oh, I wish they had, a bit more breathing time in that. Human Metal's suspiciously quiet, even though it is his thing.
You're making both good points. I just didn't want to interrupt. I kind of agree with Bragg in regards to, the feel of the show in the beginning being different. But I think that's just by the nature of it, trying to be very close to the books in the beginning, which are generally, more focused just in terms of...
I also feel like the books in general have probably written themselves into a corner that J.J. Martin can't write himself out of.
Well, we'll see about that. I mean, there's still 2 coming, believe it or not. Yeah. And the series has already
the next 20 years.
By the time he's written those books, there aren't any trees left to print them out. So
we'll see. Well, digital books, then ebooks. Anyway, no, I mean, they already have diverged so much from that over time. I don't feel like this happened from one season to the next suddenly, where it's like, oh my god, now this is a completely show. I feel like it was a slow progress.
It happened over time, but I feel all of a sudden when I was like watching last season and then watching stuff from the first season, like this doesn't feel the same anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see that, but well, what else is there to say? It's like I kind of see it, but it doesn't bother me. So it's like, okay, sure. This feels more like a more focused classic hero tale. And in the beginning, it was more like War of the Roses, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what it is. But each part of this series, or each, let's say, each different part of the series or the strengths that it plays to, it does very well. Like the political stuff in the beginning was done very well, and now that they focused on more on like, okay, we're gonna wrap this up and we're gonna make this a straight out hero tale war story till the end and write it that
still,
way.
like,
this also works really well, also done really well. So I see the
action is amazing. That's true. Like that battle scenes are probably better than any movie I've seen in years.
I see the progression there, definitely, that you're talking about, but I think it's...
You don't see it as a negative.
No, not really. I think it's a logical progression, just in terms of, I don't think you can make a series go for an entirety the way that it was set up in the beginning. I don't think that works out, because at one point you're like, okay, you need to get to somewhere with these characters, and you can't always... like make it like, oh well, you didn't expect that person to die, but now he's dead, and you know stuff like that. That's one of the simple examples, right?
Especially like I was trying to. I think you're putting across pretty much the same points that I was putting across, Human Myth, or maybe a bit more articulately. But he's doing it
much better.
But yeah, that's what I was saying. I was literally in the process of saying that, you prick. But like what I was saying, like from the very first episode, there was this overarching like a threat, right? That was always coming, and now it's here. It's like it's proper on you, so it needs to pay that. So pay off that. So you can't have the political intrigue and stuff that shit's going on. It just wouldn't work. You know, oh look, it's the end of the world. Hey, I want to be king. Like,
but Greg is right in a regard that it was in the background for so long and didn't take like a dominant role, that now that it's here, you know, it feels like a much different show, because now it's more focused on, okay, we have to relinquish this evil, we have to erase that, and we can't do that with politics. This is going to be a fight for survival.
Like the writers are the same in a way as the characters in the show. They're like, they were working on the political intrigue for so long, and all of a sudden, oh shit, we have this entire threat we have to deal with. We have to write ourselves out of. We have to write, and now they have to really, oh shit, we have to do this. And the characters the same way. They're like, oh shit, we have this fucking zombie army coming for us. But now I have a zombie dragon. What the fuck are we gonna do? Just like they're scrambling a bit to work their way out of it.
The question is, though, that for me, Game of Thrones is so awesome. I wouldn't change it. I'm happy with the way it is now, and I want to see this threat resolved. I just wish there were more episodes to do it in. That's all.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think. I mean, even in the books in the beginning, we had like these giant battles in certain parts, like the battle for King's Landing in the books is much bigger than it was in the series. And it's like, even in the beginning, the books already had, you know, the more grandiose set pieces. And maybe that's why in the books the transition is not as, you know, as noticeable if you go back to the beginning and then and now back to the ending where those are, as it is in the series, because the series was much more small scale just because of the budget in the beginning. But they got, you know, with more and more success, and, you know, dialing back the episode numbers and pumping all the budget into smaller episode numbers, the series already also got bigger and bigger, and the dragons look better, and everything, you know, the battles got bigger and bigger. So that's because you wouldn't see the big stuff in the beginning. That's why it also feels like this is much more of a big action-heavy show now. Because just in terms of budget, they weren't able to show us that in the beginning of the show. So, you know, that doubles up, like, you know, reducing the political stuff because they have to. Also giving us the action scenes that we should have already seen in the beginning of the show but couldn't because of budget limitations. That, you know, all adds up to give us like this very different feel than we got in the beginning of the show. So, yeah, it's definitely there, but it's by no way a negative in my opinion.
Right. Well, we should really sort of wrap things up now, because I think, especially for me, it's getting quite late in the morning, or I should say early in the morning. So, but I will finish by asking you, what is your favorite season of Game of Thrones so far?
Oh God.
Off the cuff.
I feel like I want to say season 3, but I'm not sure.
I don't want to go by moments. I feel that's unfair. Because if I go by moments, it has to be the season, and I think that's season 3 that has the Red Wedding.
Oh yeah.
It's just, you know, you can. There's not really a way that you can top that in terms of what the fuck and, you know, the things that it how it changes kind of everything.
I think season 3 for me as well. It has the Red Wedding, which is an amazing moment, but it also has me liking Jamie. Like it has me Jamie's redemption arc in that season is really good. From him, literally in season 2, he's probably one of the characters I hate the most. Right, like you really hate that guy, right, in the beginning.
Yeah.
But I think around season 3 is the point where you start to like him, and he has an amazing. I think there's I'm not sure where the Brienne gets introduced this season. I think I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, he does.
And you have the great scene in the bear pit, right?
Yeah, the bear pit, and there's the before in the bathtub where he's talking about like being like a kingslayer and like everything that happened to him, and it's like, oh, this is such a great character moment, and it also has like the big surprise like the Reigns of Castamere. So yeah, I think season 3 is probably peak Game of Thrones for me.
I think 4, next season 4, because you got to have like a Joffrey's wedding, and then you have the whole thing with what's his face. I've forgotten his name. Oberyn, yeah, Prince Oberyn.
That was also really great.
Yeah.
It was season 4 the one that ends with Arya going to Bravos and leaving Brienne. That was also Brienne versus the Hound, also fantastic. Great episode. So season 4 also really good. Game of Thrones, man. And I love
season 5 also has amazing moments. Like Hardhome is an amazing episode. So yeah, you're right.
But
like
was more uneven.
6
you had more filler stuff in there.
6 is brilliant as well. The whole episode where the church blows up. Oh my god, that's amazing.
It's a great episode. Maybe I feel like season 7 was a little bit let down for me, but it's maybe that's.
I don't know. That had so many great action scenes in there that I really liked.
I really didn't like Beyond the Wall personally. It felt kind of dumb.
Yeah, there was one really fucking dumb moment in that, where the moment where Jon Snow fell into like the freezing cold water and sank down to the bottom, and it somehow escaped unscathed. He'd like how even in this world with these rules, how is that possible? Like that's.
But then season 7, that was season 7, right? Had like the amazing moment where it's finally revealed why Hodor is the way he is, and the stuff with the red and everything.
Hodor was earlier, and I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think that was 6.
Was it in season 6
then?
then?
No, that was 6. Yeah, that was definitely 6.
Okay, all right. Then I got that
season
mixed
6
up.
At least has an episode called The Door, so I think that's
then hold the door. Yeah, then that's that. But yeah, okay, then that was amazing. But still, season 7 had enough stuff in there. There was like, holy shit, I am really liking this. So yeah, each Game of Thrones season in itself is kind of amazing. It's hard to pick a favorite for me, but yeah, probably go the same route as Bragg and go with 3 or 4.
Or 6.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So much good stuff, and let's see. Maybe I don't think the best is yet to come.
Even being more critical of the show than you guys, like I'm insanely looking forward to season 8. Like, there's no way I'm not gonna watch that, and it's probably the only show these days that I'm actually like gonna watch week to week. I'm really gonna sit down for it. I'm really gonna like discuss it with friends and stuff. And I don't do that for any other show.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch it twice each week probably, because I can't wait until my friends got time to watch it with me because of spoilers and everything. I can't risk that.
Oh yeah, me probably the same.
Twitter bitch. So I'm gonna watch it when it comes out, and then maybe like 1 or 2 episodes at the same time with friends on the weekend. It's gonna be fun.
I'm a DVD box set guy, so I'll probably be watching it slightly later than you, but like trying to avoid spoilers for it is hard or difficult.
Good luck, buddy.
I managed to avoid all spoilers for season 7 though, which is awesome. Like, but you have to opening up YouTube is a fucking minefield.
Yeah, I imagine. I'm not risking that.
Yeah, it's like oh man, it's tough to go on blackout for Game of Thrones, but I think we can all agree that Game of Thrones is like awesome. That's our opinion on things coming in 2019. If you have any opinions, dear Radiophonic Sea Creatures audience, please sound off in the comment section. And please join us next time you pick up a piece of cheese wire and think to yourself, hey, who do I really fucking hate?